Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Appraisal Doctor. I am Dr. Aria A. Wilson, PhD in Urban Planning, Certified Residential Appraiser. If this is your first time on the Appraisal Doctor, welcome. And if you are a regular subscriber, welcome back. I am super excited about this episode of the Appraisal Doctor because I have taken you 2 hours out of Houston to do this one. Stick around and see what question I am going to answer this week. How do you appraise a house that is a teardown? How do I value a property that is in such poor condition? It is less valuable than if it were a vacant land. That's a very long question. Appraisals that are done with the technique of land-less demolition. Whenever a property is less valuable with a structure on it versus the property which is vacant, we use the methodology called land-less demolition, and that is what we're going to focus on today. Okay, so on arriving at the property, I realized that it's a teardown, and I was already told that I am expected to give a vacant value on this property. But the fact that there's a structure there, I am sketching a floor plan of the outline of the structure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the gross external area of this property, and I'm going to basically use the sketch to show the measurements, where the dimensions are of the outline of the structure. And as I mentioned before, this is a teardown, and what I mean by a teardown is that the property is derelict, the property is not livable, the property, there is no intention by the homeowner to rebuild this property. It has been gutted, as you can see from the video that I have taken to show you. The internal is pretty much a shell, and it will be sold at land value. Now, the problem is, if I were to be purchasing land in this subdivision, I would rather purchase a land that does not have a structure on it. And that is the reason why I am going to use the approach of the land value less the demolition cost. Because the truth of the matter is, it's going to cost the potential buyer more to purchase this property with this teardown structure on it. It would be prudent as a buyer to choose land that has nothing on it than to choose this to purchase. And the reason being is that when this is bought, it will have to be demolished, and it's going to cost the new property owner to demolish this. The cost of demolishing this structure is basically half of my assignment. I'm going to have to do research to figure out a property of this size, a property of this built, a property of this design, with the finishes that it has, with the type of foundation, with generally the description as can be seen. How much will it cost to tear down? That's something I'm going to have to research. And when I do find out what that cost is, I'm going to get that cost based on a per square foot analysis, and whatever the cost is per square foot to tear this building down, I am going to apply to the gross external floor area, which is what I'm calculating here on site. So I am drawing the floor plan, a sketch of the external footprint of this structure, and I am going to, whenever I do get the cost of demolition per square foot, I'm going to multiply that by the area of this house. I just wanted to take you with me on one of my inspections, and that's what I've done in this video. I just happened to have a difficult assignment, which in most cases, when I have inspections that are this detailed, it's usually of a complicated assignment. So it was great having you guys come along with me to Orange County, to this subdivision, to basically do this inspection with me. It must be noted that this assignment, I was already given the heads up that I should provide land value on this property, and I was curious to find out what was actually there, and now I see why it is going to be bought at land value. So the owners no longer want to keep this property. It was flooded by Hurricane Harvey, as well as a hurricane that came subsequently. It is located in a flood zone, so every time there's a hurricane, they are affected. Now look at the back of this property. You see this orange section. It's an extension, and I'm almost sure it was not permitted. So if this property were in good condition, I would have to make note that there was an unpermitted extension on the property, and it would affect the value. It probably would affect the value in a negative way, because if it were to be put on the market for sale, there might be issues with the bank in closing a loan on such a property with an unpermitted extension. I just wanted to mention that. I can do an episode where we speak about properties that are to be transferred and they have issues, whether by land surveying issues or zoning issues, and this would be a zoning issue or a permit issue. Anyhow, this property was affected by flooding, so badly so that the owner wants to part ways with it, and that is the reason why I was given this engagement. So just to give you a little backdrop. So I have come to the end of the video. What I did on the inspection was I measured the external footprint of this property. I also sketched a floor plan. I took pictures internally. I took pictures externally. And on leaving the inspection, I would have taken pictures of the street scene, pictures taken from each corner of the subject property. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Appraisal Doctor, where we approach the question of how do we appraise a property that is a tear down. I hope that you find this content interesting, and if you are not yet subscribed to the Appraisal Doctor, please consider becoming a subscriber here. And if you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.